Understood. Yes?
Yes? What is it?
Back when we met, you told me about an internal disagreement, which led to many of the guild's mages leaving. What exactly happened?
Why do you want to know?
No particular reason. I'm simply curious.
I see. Well, simply put, the guild had two leaders until half a year ago, me and Lena. Lena and a lot of the other mages felt that they could uphold their neutrality no longer without sacrificing their integrity.
You're talking about the persecution of mages.
Yes, I am. As Lena said, they are crucifying us, burning us alive, putting masks on our heads that destroy our minds. If there's something wrong with the world, it's people who keep their heads down because they are afraid to stand in for what's right.
Quite the speech.
She was very emotional when it came to the topic, yes. However, her stance conflicted with everything the Creators Guild stands for. We preserve knowledge, push forward the boundaries of magic. We do not involve ourselves in power games and politics. Figuratively speaking, a fisher will never be a good military commander, just like a mage will never be a good politician.
Well, I understand the conflict.
Well, you are an empathetic woman, so I would have been surprised if you did not. But these events lie in the past. There is no point in discussing them any further, though I had certainly hoped for a different outcome.
You seem bitter.
As I said, I had hoped for a different outcome.
Could you tell me more about the woman who initiated the split? Lena, what was your relationship?
I would rather not talk about it. Please understand.
Of course. But if you ever want to talk about it...
I will tell you.
Goodbye.
Huh?
I'm still wondering what made you leave Kalea and travel the world to study demonology.
You're not letting this one go, are you? Alright, if your life depends on it, I'll tell you. To make it short, I grew up in the slums of Kalea. A shithole if ever there was one. Just imagine an entire quarter made up of half-ruined shacks with the smell of shit and piss everywhere, and way too many people. Then add the tropical heat to it, and you've got the place I grew up in. My father had left right after I was born. My mother is what you call a day laborer, though the days when she wasn't laboring outweighed the ones when she did. Whatever job there was, she took it. Even if it was cleaning the shit out of Kalayan canals. She worked hard, but it just wasn't enough. We lived in a windowless room, and I shared a bed with my mother for the first 14 years of my life. Long story short, after a while my mother simply couldn't cover the expenses anymore. The rent for our room went up and jobs became less and less, since the mage wars in Nortander also affected the trade in Kalea. So my mother looked for someone to help her out, and found one. A man named Creo. He was a loan shark who had it all. A stupid name and a shady beard. 2 lackeys who followed him wherever he went. And above all, a complete lack of what other people would call decency.
I think I can see where this is going.
Sure you can. It's not the most unique of stories, is it? To cut to the chase, 1 year later we were in massive debt. Creo suggested my mother another way of making up for it. You can fill in the blanks. I was just too weak. Over and over this fucking bastard came. Had my mother tell me to go for a walk. And every time I had no choice but to obey. Do you have any idea how that feels, Tahar? To be that powerless? I remember one day I looked in the mirror and realized how much I hated the boy I saw. I hated his body with all its frail bones, his small arms, his bloodshot wet eyes. And that's when I decided to change things. So the next time he came, I fought back.
How did that go?
What do you think? He beat me up. And it was the same next time and the time after that. At first he found it funny. But after the 4th time he threatened to kill me. The only thing that stopped him from doing it is because my mother begged him to. And I had only made it worse. On my 14th name day I left home and joined up with the Kalayan sand prowlers. My mother begged me not to go. But I just couldn't. Standing there and watching this fucking bastard walk into our room again and again whenever he felt like it, I just couldn't. Dying would have been better than staying. The way I figured it was that if I earned enough money to pay Mother's debts, Creo would leave her alone. Once I was strong enough, I'd come back. Wait for him to show up again. And then... well, you can imagine the rest.
I think I can. So who were these sand prowlers?
A group of mercenaries. They took me in and trained me. But even though they were skeptical at first, they quickly realized that my determination made up for what my body was lacking. When I was 16 and I discovered my magic, one of their leaders made me his apprentice. The arcane universities are a shithole made up of boy-loving old geezers who care more about how you wear your hair than about your magic. I'll tell you the real thing. And that she did.
What about your plan to pay your mother's debts? Did that work out?
Well, I thought so at first, but we'll get there.
What was it like to work with the sand prowlers?
Well, if you were hoping for stories of sex, adventure, and intrigue, I have to disappoint you. Most of it was nasty stuff. Fighting in wars which you knew were wrong, beating up people who were practically helpless. But then again, the Chilean Guard was no better than that. It was a case of pick your poison.
Was that sand prowler mage also who introduced you to demonology?
What? No, she was a mediocre mage at best. The most powerful thing she could do was lighting someone's hair on fire. Though of course she didn't see it that way. After 1 year I was already stronger than her, and I started my own studies.
So did you ever return to your mother?
Of course, on my 18th name day. I had wanted to return earlier, but a contract had me kept overseas for a lot longer than I had expected. Sorry. It's strange to talk about it.
What happened?
My mother. She was gone. Her room had been cleared out, and the neighbors told me she passed away unexpectedly just 3 weeks before I arrived. Her heart just stopped beating. I went into the room and looked for our stash. A small casket under the floorboards. I found it, opened it, and saw all the money I'd sent her over the years.
So...
She never used it to pay Creo as I instructed her. I have no idea why, but my best guess is that she thought it was mine since I earned it. She was that kind of person, you know? No matter how hard fate punched her in the face, she clung on to her ideals. Always did what was right rather than what was good for herself. And look what she got in return.
Did you ever visit her grave?
I did, but it was a mass grave. Dozens of corpses, all piled onto each other, and some earth shoveled on top of it. I threw up when I saw it, and never came back after that.
What about Creo?
Well, as you can imagine, I went to look for him. Right after I was able to think straight again. But he was gone.
Where?
I don't know. I asked everywhere and everyone who could know, and they either didn't or gave me different information. After a while, I gave up.
Why?
Because people like Creo are just a reality we have to deal with. I could have killed him, but what good would it have done? My mother was dead, and no amount of bloodshed and gut tearing could have changed that. The world doesn't give a fuck about your ideals, Tahar. About doing the right thing. That's just the shit we tell ourselves to help us sleep at night. You eat or you get eaten. It's that simple. I wasn't strong enough when I should have been. And that's why I couldn't help her. That will never happen again.
I see where you're coming from, but without ideals, we'd be living in the claws of Nor.
Yeah, keep telling yourself that. To wrap up the story, I enrolled at the university from the money my mother saved for me. Turned out the Sand Prowler mage was wrong. There were some boy-loving professors, but they knew their shit. I studied and practiced until there was nothing left to study. Then I found out about demonology and the power in it. I quit university, and I've been traveling ever since. Taking jobs as a mercenary here and there, but above all, improving my skills. My last stop was Bargagora to summon a devourer.
And what are you after? In the long run?
I don't know. I'll find out when I get there.
Huh. Interesting story. Thanks for your trust, Urim.
Sure. Hope you're happy.
Now
Best you talk to my brother. He's good with words. I'm good with the anvil.
Oh, the courtroom. Quite a nice place you found yourself here, I have to say. Thanks again for helping us out in that bloody desert. So, if you don't mind, we'll unload our cart and smithy here. As promised, we can provide you with the best weapons and armor on Northander. The only thing we need to ask of you is a small donation every time we craft something for you. I know, you saved our lives, but we still need to cover for the material.
No problem. I'll make sure to drop by from time to time.
Splendid. Knee half strength, Corporal.
Hey, you're an adventurer, aren't you? Come take a look. I'm sure I've got something that might spark your interest. May Tiara bless your path.
Yeah, do you need something? I'm a tad busy.
Goodbye. Okay, I'm ready. Sure this place isn't gonna blow up once we insert the second stone, Iskram?
What? No, I don't think that's likely.
All right, here we go.
Blasted, blistering blazes. I don't know what to say. This is amazing.
But it seems like it worked. We've restored the Nexus to full power. How are you feeling, Ayana?
Overwhelmed. But it's bearable.
What now, though? Is it strong enough to perform this joining ritual?
It should be. And you, Tahar, should be the one to do it. You need to connect your mind to the Nexus. That way you might be able to sense who or whatever is sending out the song. What do you say? Are you ready?
Shouldn't we, I don't know, prepare?
How? Putting on a Shaper costume? Now's as good a time as any.
Fair point. All right, Iskram. I'm ready.
Good. Then step into the forge.
And what now?
Tahar!
We...
Is it over?
Yes, I think so. By the Guardians, that was... I don't know what just happened.
Describe.
There were voices, screams, thoughts, images.
How do you feel now? I mean, has anything changed?
I think so. Yes. I feel, I don't know, clearer? As if something in my mind opened up.
Then it worked! Niehauf's hammer, we did it! You joined yourself with the Nexus!
So... I am telepathic now?
You're not a Dreamweaver. I'd feel it if that were the case.
I don't think you are, but you're connected to this place now. And therefore to the Shaper memories.
Does that mean we can finally locate the cause of the song?
You tell me. Think of the song, Tahar. Close your eyes. What do you feel? What do you hear? What do you see?
I'll try.
A failure. That's what you are.
No, that's impossible.
What is it?
My father. I heard his voice.
Your father? So you think he's behind this?
I also heard the voice of a woman. She whispered something.
A woman? Now this is, interesting. But I still don't understand. Do you really think your father is involved in the blood burn?
I don't think so. There's more to it. But yes, my father is involved in this somehow.
This is helpful, but it still does not tell us where to start searching. Think hard, Tahar. Is there anything else?
Yes, there were sounds. Drips, crickets, flies, but...
The eye. Your father's laboratory.
Tiara's breath. Of course.
The eye? You mean the marshlands?
Yes, my father had a laboratory there, in the old abandoned manor of House Waite. Nobody was allowed to follow him there, not even Rowan or I.
Well, sounds like we have a lead. The Bloodborne and the Song of the White are somehow connected to your father in his laboratory.
So it seems. Yes.
Tahar, maybe...
What?
Never mind. It doesn't matter.
Rowan, tell me.
There's nothing to tell.
Well, if you say so. I'll send a messenger to inform Lacane as soon as possible. He will want to be there. Let's get prepared. Understood.
Tahar, how do you feel? You sounded a bit lost before.
I guess I was. My father's voice. It brought back memories.
And not exactly good ones, I suppose. Well, I hope we can find some answers in the marshlands. Is there anything else you wish to talk about? If not, I best get prepared.